Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, and welcome to YACC, yet another Crowcast, where I pick a game I played for a week and then I'll talk about it. This week's game is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Times. For the Nintendo 64, it was released in 1998 by Nintendo, and it's also on the GameCube and the 3DS. But before I start rambling about the game, I would like to do some quick shoutouts and general information. I have a new mic, a HyperX Quadcast. I've been tinkering with it a bit, and I haven't fully learned all the technical stuff with it. And I will do some shoutouts as well. husTlie, or husTlie, a guy on Twitch. He does speedruns of Super Mario 64. Really cool guy, really nice. Takes time with chat. And Bud Cave TV, or the BCTV Podcast on Spotify. Also a nice guy, really good with community and stuff. So I put their links down in the description. So I grew up with this game. I was about 8 or 10 when I first played it, and I identify with young Link and his adventures, and I played this game on and off during my time, and even as an adult right now. And I realized that when I was young, I wanted to be a sword-wielding hero, and actually growing up and realize I can't be that, and I am adult now, and I am an adult now, and all these responsibilities and the soul-crushing truth of it, like bills and stuff. But this game has gone me through some really harsh times, and currently as well brings me to a happier place, a better place. And there will be spoilers up ahead, just so you know. So the game starts with young Link, or whatever you name your hero, in a bed, and he's sleeping, and he's dreaming about the main bad guy of the series, Ganon, and it's a nightmare, of course. And the Great Deku Tree, which is this huge kind of tree that looks like with a man's face, basically a beard and everything. He sends away a little fairy called Navi to pick Link up, and Navi goes and wakes him up. And to see the Great Deku Tree, you need two things, because there's this guy blocking the path. You need a sword and you need a shield. So you pick up rupees in the grass, about 40 of them, and you can buy the Deku Shield, and which is basically a little small wooden shield. And then you need a sword, and you find this in a little, not a labyrinth, but a little maze. You find the Kokiri sword, and then you're set to go. So you go see the Deku Tree, and he informs you that you are in fact not a Kokiri, and that you were left here in the woods by your mom. So you're in fact a Hylian, which is something else entirely. Because the Kokiri are this, like the Peter Pan story. The kids that never grow up, if they stay in the forest, then I don't think they can leave the forest either, and they'll die or something. And there's also this kind of cool place that is connected to the Kokiri forest, which is the Lost Woods. And if a grown person or anyone enters the forest and get lost, they basically become Stalfos or other creatures. Kind of an interesting idea. But anyway, you go talk to the Great Deku Tree, and he tells the story of your origin and everything you need to know. So you need to collect spirit stones, 3 of them, to actually to reach the Temple of Time and get the Master Sword and defeat the bad guy. But first you need to help the Deku Tree, and by doing so you get the spirit stone. So you need to prove your courage. So you go inside the Great Deku Tree. He opens up his mouth, and you kind of go inside, and his inside is a dungeon basically, and it's filled with spider webs and bad creatures. So he's been infected by the Queen of Gothma, which is this big spider, and you need to collect things. And this first dungeon functions as a tutorial, and it's really slow and annoying because Navi, and it's a meme, she pops up and she says like, listen. And it's like, oh no, you have to press up on the up on the, so you get to know what she's talking about. And it's basically, this is how you climb a wall, this is how you open doors, and this is how the action button works. And I know I played this 100 times, so the intro tutorial is kind of slow and annoying, and yeah. But eventually you find a compass and a map, so you can see the dungeon, how it works, and you find the fairy slingshot, which is used to basically shoot things down, and it's used on the boss Gothma. You shoot Gothma in the eye, and it get paralyzed, and you basically slice her up with your sword. But there's one mechanic that I actually is kind of funny. You have these deco nuts, which basically works as if you throw the deco nuts, they kind of paralyze the enemies. And you have deco sticks, and these deco sticks can be used as weapons, as well as like a torch, but they burn for a short amount of time. But anyway, you can use the sticks as weapons, but then they break. So if you paralyze the boss Goma and you with the slingshot, and when she's dazed, you take one of the sticks and you do a jump attack. You need like 2 or 3 of those, and you actually bring down the boss. And it's one of those things. It's almost as strong as the Master Sword, I think, just a stick, but this stick breaks. But anyway, you defeat Gothma, get a piece of heart, and you leave the dungeon via a light source that shines down. And then you go talk to the Deco 3, and you get the Spirit Stone of Courage. This is like the Kokiri Emerald, I think. Excuse me. And then he dies. Basically, he turns gray and he dies. So, you get the information that you're supposed to go to the castle and talk to the to Princess Zelda. So you leave the forest, but before you leave, you have to talk to Saria, which is one of your childhood friends, and she gives you a fairy ocarina that you can use to play songs. And it's kind of like a little heartbreaking story, but you will return to the forest multiple times, and you actually need to do that later on to get the Saria song and so on. But anyway, you leave the forest, and as soon as you leave the forest, you get confronted by a big talking owl. And this is one of those memes as well. You just want to skip, you push the button to skip his dialogue because you know all this. This is how the map works. This is what you need to do. You get all that? And if you get it wrong, you kind of select no. He tells the story all over again. So you have to be on your... Don't tap fast on that button, because otherwise you might have the same dialogue options again. It's like really annoying. But anyway, you talk to him and he flies off. And then you rush to the drawbridge of the castle before it gets dark. And if you're lucky, or you do like sidestepping or side jumping, you can actually get inside the castle before it gets dark. Because if you don't get inside before the sun sets, the ground will be full of undead creatures that you have to slay. And when the sun rises, the creatures disappear and you can enter the castle. So getting into the castle courtyard, going into the marketplace, and finding the girl of Marlon, I think. And so you need to get inside the castle. And so you go into in direction of the castle. And you get confronted by the annoying owl again, and he kind of tells this speech again, and I don't even listen to the dialogue, just skip it. And then going back into the marketplace again and talking to Marlon, the daughter of this other guy, that is, he's actually a representation of Mario in this game. Anyway, he looks like Mario. And so you have to, she gives you an egg, and that egg, there's this day and night cycle in the game. So you use the egg, you have the egg in your inventory, and you sneak your way into the castle, or to the end of it, I guess, to the back door, you could say that. And the egg hatches when the dawn breaks, and you use the cuckoo, as they're called, like they're roosters basically. You use it to wake up the sleeping Mario kind of character, and he rushes off. You can push the boxes that he delivered. He works at Long Ranch basically, and it's a horse ranch, but they also have cattle like cows. So he delivered milk to the castle basically. So you use the milk crates and you stack them on top of each other, and you crawl into not a vent, but the place where the water gets out to the moat basically. So you sneak past the guards and you eventually reach Zelda, and you talk to her basically, and she has been having dreams about you, the chosen one, the green boy from the forest with a fairy, and she asks you if you have the Kokiri Emerald, the courage, the sign of courage, and you said yes, and she tells the story, and excuse me, she actually looks into the window, and Ganon is there to consult with the king, but he has bad scheming plans and whatnot. And then the Zelda kind of quest, you will go into Death Mountain and visit the Gorons to get the other Spirit Stone, the Spirit Stone of Fire, I think, the Goron Ruby. And when you're about to leave, you get confronted by Zelda's bodyguard, Impa. She's one of the Shikas. They're basically like ninjas, I guess. That's tied to the royal family. And she teaches you the royal family song, which is called the Zelda's Lullaby. And it's used by the royal family to be recognized as one of them. So it's part of the Ocarina puzzle. She teaches the song, the lullaby, and you can go on about to Death Mountain. And then you go to the to Death Mountain or to the village of Kakariko Village, and there's like small quests. So the thing I haven't been mentioning, but during these the segments between, I pick up all the items and heart pieces and containers and things that I can basically get my hands on, because I've played it so many times. So it's like nature. You hunt down Skulltulas, which are these golden spiders. When you kill them, they drop a golden skull. And you're supposed to collect 100 of them. And there's this house in Kakariko Village where there's this Skulltula curse, which if you the more Skulltula tokens you have, the more of the family that's been cursed by this spider curse, they get turned back to normal humans. So you actually get rewards by helping them out. So there's this one item that I think is really cool, and it's a tie back to the original Zelda game on the 64, the Stone of Agony. And it's shaped like the Rumble Pack. And I think this is really cool, because the Rumble Pack was this feature you plugged into your 64 controller, and it had batteries. So what we take for granted now with rumbling controllers, you actually had an add-on to have that. It's kind of cool. But anyway, the Stone of Agony works that way. If you're close to a secret, like a hidden hole or a breakable wall or something, it vibrates. The controller vibrates, and I think that's a really cool function. And it's really useful when you look for Skulltulas and other secrets. It's a secret to everyone. It's a Zelda meme. But anyway, so you want to go to Death Mountain, right? But you can't, because one of the guards stop you, and he says like you need a proper shield before you can even go to Death Mountain. There's like this rock falling from the volcano, which is active, and you basically need a shield. So there are two ways you can go about this. You can go to the graveyard, which is connected to the Kakariko Village, and you go down in one of the graves. You push one of the stones when the gravekeeper isn't there, and you can find a Hylian shield in one of the chests. Or you can go back to the marketplace and get a discount for a shield. So I always go to the graveyard because there are other things you can pick up there. But anyway, going to the Death Mountains and going into the Goron City, which Gorons are basically they're basically like stone trolls, but they're brown. They're hard to explain, but this took a weird turn. But anyway, you're supposed to talk to the Goron leader, Darunia, but he doesn't want to talk to you. He's grumpy for some reason. So what you do is you go back to the Kokiri Forest. You can do this easy by just saving the game, because if you save the game and reset, you always wind up as an adult Link. You wind up in the Temple of Times or in the dungeon that you are currently in, or as young Link, same thing when you started the dungeon which you were, or you get teleported back to your house where you started the game. So in this case, it's faster to actually save and reset, and waking up in the bed and like going to the Lost Woods. And you follow a maze-like structure, or a maze-like track, So you follow Saria's song, and it will lead you to the meadow. I think it's just the meadow, forest meadow. And then you talk to Saria, and you get the Saria's song. And going back to the Goron City and talking to Darunia, you actually need a song to open up his door, and you use the Zelda lullaby to basically say that you're part of the royal family, and that lets you into the chamber. And then you use the Saria song, which is this happy, upbeat tune, and it makes him happy, and he dances like crazy. And then he gives you the Goron bracelet, because he wants you to clear out the Dongo's cavern. So the bracelet, the power bracelet, I think, or the Goron bracelet, makes you able to pick up bomb flowers. And they're basically bombs growing as flowers. So you pop up a bomb and you throw it, and you take this bracelet thingy that's equipped automatically, and you go into the top of the Dongo. Well, I guess it's called the Dongo's cave, and you throw down a bomb flower at the entrance and you blow it up, basically. And then you go inside the cave and you clear it out. So you get real bombs, a bomb bag. So you don't need to find bomb flowers wherever you go. You can just pick up bombs. And then you go to the boss. And I'm oversimplifying things, but there's a dungeon layout, and there's some Skulltula pickups and whatnot. And, well, you go and fight the boss. So this boss is simpler than Goma. You fight this big lizard thing called the Dongo. And basically what you want to do is, he inhales and he's supposed to breathe fire or something. And you throw a bomb into the mouth of the boss, and it explodes, and he kind of gets dazed a bit. And then you use the Deco Stick trick again, and you only need to use 2 jump attacks with the Deco Stick, and he's down. You get a heart peach container, and you continue on. And at this point you get the Goron Rupee, and you get instructed to go on top of the volcano to visit a fairy. So you get a power bar, basically, so you can do a spin attack, which has more reach, I guess. Well, I think it just prolongs your magic meter. You're able to use magic now. And then going to Sora's domain, which is this place where the Sora lives, and they are basically humanoid fish creatures. And so you get confronted by the annoying owl again, and you use your bombs to break some rocks and going up the river. And there's this trick you can do. You can pick up chickens or cuckoos, and you can fly with them for a short time. So you can use the cocos to pick up some heart pieces that you're not supposed to be able to get yet. And but anyway, you eventually reach this big waterfall, and there is a plate with the royal sign, the Triforce, and you use the Zelda's Lullaby to mark that you're part of the royal family. So the water stop pouring down from the waterfall. You can enter Sora's domain, and at this point you want to go to the top of the cave, basically. And what you want to do is you want to talk to one of the guy at the top of this other waterfall, this Sora, and this is basically a diving game. So he throws down rupees into the water. You pay him, I guess, and then you go for the rupees. You pick them all up. You dive down and pick them all up, and you return to the top of the waterfall, and he will reward you with the scale. And it makes you breathe underwater for 6 seconds instead of 3 seconds. So that's a really useful thing. And then what you do is you dive, go down again, and use the blue scale. It's auto-equipped, and you swim down under the there's this kind of a tunnel, or like a small cave that goes out to the Hylian lake. And you swim out there, and you find this letter in a bottle, and you bring it back to the king, and it reveals that Ruto, the daughter of the king, is inside of a big fish called Yabu Yabu, and the king moves for you in order to help her, basically. And it's a meme as well. It's like a really slow moving, and he's really fat and lazy, so he takes his sweet ass time to move that fat ass, And anyway, you go to Yabu Yabu, this big fish, and you use a bottle to catch a smaller fish, because bottles in the Zelda games are used to contain things like fairies, bugs, and other things. And so you basically catch a fish in a bottle, and you put it in front of Yabu Yabu, and he opens his mouth and he sucks you in, and you're inside this whale now. This big creature is actually bigger on the inside and one is on the outside, but it really doesn't matter. So anyway, you go into this cave and you find Ruto, and she's basically got sucked into the Yabu Yabu, and she's looking for her mom's pendant, which is the Sora Sapphire, basically the Spirit Stone that you want. And she's really stuck up, and she doesn't think highly of you. She's royal and a really annoying character. But anyway, you help her out, and she will agree to follow you along if you carry her. So you basically just pick her up like an item. You have her over your head and you run around, and you traverse the dungeon, and you eventually find a boomerang and compass and a map. So you fight off one of a smaller boss, which is an octopus, and you make short work of him, and then you go up like an elevator escalator, I don't know what you call it, but a platform, and you ascend, and you traverse the dungeon some more, and then you eventually get to the heart of the problem, this big tumorous kind of disgusting monster which shoots electricity, and that's the boss of the dungeon. So there's one trope in the Zelda universe where the item you get in the dungeon is the item that you use to defeat the boss, and it's always that item. There's very rarely something that deviates from that path. But anyway, you use the boomerang, you paralyze the tumor kind of electricity fiend, and he explodes in this tumorous growth thing, and it's really gross. And you get a heart piece container, and you basically get the sapphire from Rudo, and she was told to give this her mother's jewelry to the man that she would marry. So apparently she will be married to this fish lady. Yay. And anyway, now you have all the three of the spirit stones, so you can go to the Temple of Time and basically open the door of time. But you get as far as to the drawbridge again, and then Zelda and Impa rides out on a horse, and she throws the ocarina into the moat. And Ganon arrives, and he actually asks Link, like, or whatever you name the character, like, where did Zelda go? And of course you stand your ground, you pull your sword, and he just laughs and blasts you with some lightning magic, and he rides away. And but he also declares that he's Ganon, and he's the king of the Gerudos. Yeah. And then you pick up the ocarina, because the Ocarina of Time is the last piece of the puzzle. So by picking up the ocarina, you learn the Song of Time, which is used to open the door of time with the combination of the Spirit Stones. So that's exactly what you do. You go into the Temple of Time, you place all the pendants, the Spirit Stones, and you play the Song of Time, and the Master Sword is revealed to you. So you can basically just pick it up, and that's what you do. And that's when I'm going to stop talking, and because, play this game. So, gameplay. Save Hyrule from Ganon. Defeat the evil bad guy in the end. Collect items, heart pieces, and upgrade your character, basically. So, control. The left stick moves. The B button is for the sword. The A button sheaths your sword, interacts, and you can roll with directional stick and the A button. You can also do a jump attack if you have the X button pressed. The targeting button. You basically use the targeting button for targeting a specific enemy. But if you have that button pressed and you have the sword up and you press A, you do this jump attack, and it's really vital for boss fights because it makes you do more damage, basically. Start brings up the inventory and the menu, and L, you pick up your shield, basically, and C is the target, as I said before. Graphics. This Zelda game brought the Zelda franchise into 3D. So you can actually say, like, Link's nose is this triangular polygon that can cut through, like, rocks. It's really jaggedy edges, but it's like... but, I mean, it's not bad. And if you don't like necessarily this version, you can play the 3DS version that has updated graphics, and it looks really good. But the graphics were good for the time, I guess, back in the day. So this game actually was co-developed or side-by-side developed with the first Mario game. So they're kind of like in the same genre. They had like the same engine, I think, at some point, and they kind of modified to do the different kind of things. And sound and music. I love the music and grew up with the whole concept and things. I mean, like, the Kakariko Village theme. I can play that on guitar. One of the first things I learned how to play, actually. And the Song of Storms, which is this lovely kind of mystical song that, you know, you conjure up a storm with lightning and rain. And also a cool thing, you can make your own song in this game called the Scarecrow Song. So you play random notes or something fancy in front of a scarecrow at the Hylian Lake, and that song as young Link. And when you grew up, you can find these kind of spots where Navi turns green, or she turns to a green color, and then you can play the Scarecrow song close to those spots, and the Scarecrow will appear, and you can actually use him as an anchor for your hookshot. So the hookshot more or less, you can basically get to higher places or hidden stuff, hidden goodies. In conclusion, yes, play this game. It's super awesome. If you haven't played it, play it. I mean, there's so much that, you know, that I haven't even touched on. Like, there's like at the Hylian Lake, there is this fishing game. So you just pay like 10 or 15 rupees and you go fishing. That's what you do with the really chill music, and you try to catch the biggest fish. You get a heart piece for the biggest fish, and you can get the golden scale, which helps you on your quest. And you can find a hidden lure on the shore and whatnot in this kind of pond situation. It's really nice. I mean, the only thing that I think is really bad is the slow intro part, you know, the tutorial, because you have to, even if you can skip the dialogue, you still have to hear Navi's kind of, hey, listen all the time, and you get this long drawn out dialogue of, this is how you use your nuts. Yeah, my nuts, sure. This is how you use a sword. Well, you press a button, and that's the only negative I can say about this game. So, but anyway, thanks for watching and listening, and take care.